This is how the narcissist emotionally drains you and manipulates you by promises of a better future while living in the current hell of reality that you're in right now. Like, this is where you feel stuck because you're like, but if I leave, then he's going to get the house he promised. But if I leave, then he's going to give the vacation to someone else. But if I leave, and you need to understand, when you start to see a repetition of the person not actually following through with their promises, you don't have anything. Have you ever been promised something before, maybe by an amazing partner, but you've never actually had it happen? Maybe you find yourself daydreaming about an ideal future with the person that you're with and with them, of saying like, oh, this is what we're going to do, this is what's going to happen, but you never actually see the moves being made to get to that spot, or it never actually comes to fruition. Maybe you wondered if they're just using this as a way to be able to control you, or maybe this is a brand new thought of wondering, wait a second, why do they keep saying this is going to happen, but it never happens? One of the things we're going to be talking about today is talking about future faking when it talks about narcissistic abuse, what it actually looks like, how it actually shows up, and how it's leveraged a lot of times to keep you in the relationship. If you guys are new here, my name is Ben Taylor. I'm a self-aware narcissist on this channel to provide awareness, growth, healing, change, and development. We try to take people through those 5 stages of healing to get to a place from their healing journey to their growth mindset of understanding how they can live in a confident and having clarity in who they actually are. A lot of times when you're with a toxic person, you don't know what's true anymore. You don't know what's right. You don't know what's wrong, what's up, what's down, what's left, what's right, anything. And a lot of times how you get to this spot is through future faking. By someone promising you an outcome. This is one of 3 ways that narcissists distort your reality, make you believe a different version of the truth so that you stay stuck even longer. And the first one is gaslighting, the second one is love bombing, and the third one that we're going to talk about today is future faking. So what is it? Future faking is a common tactic used by narcissists to control and manipulate their partners. Okay, what it involves is a lot of times making these big promises or these giant plans for the future that never come to fruition. Like, it leads you down this path thinking that this is going to happen, that this end result is going to happen. Now, this can come about in a couple different ways, which we'll talk about. Some of it might be just in future plans. Sometimes it might be in future change. But it involves in these ideas of making these grand promises and gestures of like, wait, this is going to happen. Let's plan this. Let's do this. And what it does is it leads you on. It makes you feel hopeful. It makes you still feel invested in the relationship. And when you feel like you're pulling back, oh, it's time to get a little bit more invested. So we're going to discuss a couple aspects of future faking. Hopefully provide some examples so you understand and help you recognize and understand this behavior. Like, it's important to understand how future faking can twist your perspective, can skew the point of view so that you don't actually know what is going on. Okay, so like I said, future faking is the act of making these big promises or plans without the intention of actually fulfilling them. Like, you have to understand, like, the point of future faking is not like, oh, we're making these plans. It's, no, we're making these plans to avoid what's going on here. Like, to just give you something, but I don't actually have the intention of doing it. Oftentimes, narcissists will use this aspect of future faking to keep you stuck in the relationship. Now, I want you to think, because a lot of times this will happen at the end of the relationship or when you're calling them out. Okay, so let's talk about the future faking of change. A lot of times, a narcissist is going to say, I'm going to change. Like, I'm going to work on myself. I'm going to get into therapy. But then what you notice is they're not actually doing it. They're not actually putting in the work required to move forward and to even build a healthy relationship. Typically because they're not being honest, they're not being vulnerable, and they're not showing a consistent daily work on changing themselves. They might say, hey, I'm going to get into therapy. Like, this, I know this is what you want. Like, I'll do this. But then they don't make the calls. Then they blame it on their circumstances. Then they blame it on you. Then they blame it on everything else except the actual fact that they're not taking accountability for not following through with what they say they're going to do. Now, future faking isn't always just about change behavior, but a lot of times it does happen at the end of a relationship. Think about at the end of a relationship, you get ready to leave. You get ready to walk out the door and you're like, I'm done. And all of a sudden that person magically changes. Like, all these things start to shift. You're like, wait a second. And you start to realize over a period of time that they're actually changing and faking what's actually happening in the moment to get you to the place of staying, of that hope, of like, I'll do anything you ask. Like whatever it takes, I'll do whatever. And you start to buy into this hope and this belief that this person might be doing the things that you want them to do. So you stay a little bit longer. Now, future faking is not just at the end of the relationship. A lot of times I'll highlight that because so many people get confused about that. They'll get confused about the narcissist saying that they're going to try, that they're going to fix it, that they're going to work on it, and then they never do. And once you consider that future faking, a lot of times is just the big things that you never actually do. So you might be in a relationship where he promised to take you on this luxurious vacation in a year, but never follows through. Never follows through with planning, never follows through with funding, never follows through with the steps needed to actually make it happen. But it's coming. The promise is used to keep you stuck and invested. You have to remember, this whole piece is like you get ready to pull away. It's like, nope, you need to stay invested. You need to stay stuck in this relationship. So what's it look like? What are some of the signs of future faking? How does it actually show up on a day-to-day basis? Do you understand? One of the aspects is these promises are grandiose and oftentimes unrealistic. Now, what defines that? Okay, it could be nuanced for your own situation, but you have to be able to take a step back and be like, is this realistic? Like, is this actually going to happen? Is this actually able to happen? Are they actually making a plan to make it happen? Being able to understand, is it actually realistic or not, like, is a huge piece of it. Because oftentimes you'll just believe it, hook, line, and sinker of what they're telling you, instead of being like, wait a second, like, I don't see how this is going to happen, and they also don't have a plan, and they also don't have the money, and they also don't have a job. Like, you start going through these things, you're like, wait a second, this might not be really realistic. So, like, is the promise, like, really huge and unrealistic? Okay? Oftentimes, the future faking plans are very vague and lack specific details. Okay? Not always, because they could say, oh, we're going to go do this, and still never make the plans. Okay? But a lot of times you will see them be really, really vague. Well, we're going to go on this vacation. I'm going to plan to do this. Like all these things where you won't get details. You won't understand the bits and pieces of it. Okay? A narcissist oftentimes is going to use future faking as a way to avoid addressing current problems in the relationship. This is probably number one, like my favorite part about future faking that I communicate. Okay? Because it's what I did. Okay? And is what you have in your relationship right now. Where the person in your life is saying, I'm going to get better. I'm going to change. I'm going to work on this. We're going to go do this. We're going to, like, all these things. I would use future faking to avoid current accountability. Like, what you notice is in the relationship that you're in, this person only brings up this stuff when they're being held accountable. When you catch him on cheating is when he's talking about the vacation. Like, when there's this pivotal moment, all of a sudden there's a future plan. But before that, no future plan. Didn't care. Didn't show anything. But all of a sudden care. You'll see this happen so many times that it's like, hey, look over here. Here's the new shiny option. Don't look over here because this is what I just did. You'll see this happen time and time and time again. So many times I've talked to people and I've asked them, okay, like, did you actually go on that vacation? They're like, no, yeah, we never did. But you don't think about it because the next level of abuse comes in. The next gaslighting, the next manipulation happens over and over and over again. You think, oh, well, we did have a good... No, we actually didn't have a good vacation. We didn't even have a vacation. Like it's amazing how you start to see different nuances that happen about how far narcissists will go to avoid current problems and current accountability. Okay? Oftentimes, another aspect is oftentimes the promises by a narcissist about future faking are too good to be true. Like, you're like, that just doesn't feel like it's even possible, realistic, right? But then it also it feels too good to be true. It might be. Okay? Think of it this way. Let's say your partner promises to buy you a brand new house, okay? Brand new house for you in the next year, but never discusses anything about that. Location, budget, financing options. This promise is used to keep you once again invested in the relationship while avoiding addressing the actual issues as far as communication, emotional support, things that are happening right now, okay? What is actually going on here? What's happening is you're getting to a place where you feel stuck and you feel like you're at the place where you're almost like addicted to this person, okay? This is how the narcissist emotionally drains you and manipulates you by promises of a better future while living in the current hell of reality that you're in right now. Like, this is where you feel stuck because you're like, but if I leave, then he's going to get the house he promised. But if I leave, then he's going to give the vacation to someone else. But if I leave, and you need to understand, when you start to see a repetition of the person not actually following through with their promises, you don't have anything. There's actually nothing there. We see this so many times in narcissistic relationships. We see this so many times with men that are promising things but never following through. We live in a society that doesn't even care about the truth. We live with a lot of men growing up that don't even care about their word. They don't even care about what they actually say. Will they follow through? These people are not men. These people are not a good material for someone who is going to lead you or guide you or help you or move forward in life as a future partner. But this oftentimes is our society and what has come out of broken families and broken homes over the past generations. You need to understand, this person will make you feel stuck, unable to move, make you struggle with self-doubt, feelings of worthlessness due to the lack of the follow-through of the promises that were never made. And you'll see this over and over and over again. Maybe you're at the point today where you feel constant disappointment. You feel anxiety. You feel all of these different feelings because there's unfulfilled promises. You start to feel the trust breakdown. There's emotional distance that happens in the relationship, and you're like, I don't know what to do. You might be struggling in a toxic and a narcissistic relationship. And I want you to seek out for support and help in moving forward and breaking free from this cycle of manipulation. If you want, you can go to escapetoxicity.com. You can click the link down below to join our 7-day challenge for $7 and get lifetime experience of what is actually going on there. You get access to a community there of multiple videos, going back and forth, different words, different things that we walk people through to help you understand narcissistic abuse. You have daily assignments. You engage with the community. If you want to talk to me one-on-one, you can go to rawmotivations.com. Would love to help you be a part of your healing journey and help you see and break free from the future faking that's happening in your life today.